Hey guys, so today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question was, Frederick, if a software developer usually gets the job done but fails to deliver on time, do they deserve to get fired? So let's get into it. Well, I think the exact question was if after they have gotten a warning for that, do they deserve to get fired? So this is a very tricky question to answer, mostly because I don't really know the circumstances around this, and as you can imagine, that makes things, well, quite a bit harder because I'm basically just speculating here. But what I can do is that I can share the two perspectives that I can see. There's two scenarios that leads to this sort of behavior. So on the one part, I would say this: if somebody is behind schedule and continues to do so, you have to assess why that is, because the only two, like, there are a few options, and I mean, the first option would be that, all right, the first thing in question would be, all right, the person in question is not able to keep up with your schedules. Let's say that they're just unskilled. That would be a very convenient and easy answer. Although I find it very hard to believe that somebody's simply that unskilled that it's a matter of just that. You can check that, of course, if it's a fairly junior profile and they struggle to get just basic things done and need a lot of help and so forth, then maybe they are in the wrong place, or maybe it might be that simple, that they're simply doing a job that is beyond what they are supposed to, beyond them. That is one way of looking at it. Another way is to look at it from the perspective, okay, so you don't have a junior developer, you have someone with a little bit more experience, and they're still behind schedule. Then they may have fallen prey to this thing that I've warned most of the developers on this channel about, which is that they are opting in for sophisticated solutions, when in reality they shouldn't. They should simply go for the thing that's going to work, and the thing that is simple. And this is one of the wisest things. I heard this a long time ago, where there was a statement stating that, all right, if you have a serious IT project and you don't have a senior developer on that project, it is all but doomed to fail. And the reason why I only understood later in my career, and that is that a junior developer, although you have the skills to produce the code, when you're working on serious projects, it's very tricky for you to find junior developers who don't fall prey to the classical pitfalls of over-optimizing, over-complicating things, or they have a vision, if you will. Some of them fall in love with their own code, and they become, for them, it becomes more about writing good software and with the thing that they're doing, rather than producing value for the company. And for smaller businesses, you can't have that. You simply can't have people who can't deliver on time, because that's your entire business. It has to be and I hate to say it to all the engineers out there, but it comes down to, if you are working at a company where high quality is the norm, great, then you can do this. But most companies don't have that, and your definition of what quality is very different in general terms from your stakeholders and your boss as well. So that is another option, trying to figure out if that is the key, that is the issue. And in that scenario, I would suggest that you talk to the person first and try to figure out, is there a way for them to kind of change their mindset? Do you have other people working at the company who can kind of piggyback with these people and see if they, there might be a restructure that is in order to put this person with a more senior and experienced developer. This is not exclusive to juniors in any way, but it's more likely that a senior with a few years of experience will realize that that person's salary doesn't come from how well they solve the problem necessarily. It comes from that the problem is solved in an efficient manner and it's on time. And then lastly, I would like us to also touch on the possibility that there's a systematic issue within your organization. Because you see, the programmer only has as much time as you give that person, which means that if you have an unreasonable deadline, or if you have a very ad hoc way of working, or you're causing delays within the organization for the developers, that's another type of problem. Where, I mean, I worked in those scenarios as well, where people simply come in and expect me to produce something, and I tell them, like, you should have come to me with this issue 2 weeks ago, and they go, yeah, but we're here now. And I say, yeah, that sucks, but I can hack it together maybe and like create some weird temporary solution, but I can't give you exactly what you want in that time frame. Usually you come to an agreement and you figure it out somehow, but if that ever becomes a systematic thing, that is a very big source of stress and anxiety for a lot of developers, and that's not good either. So you have to I would start there to really ask myself if the company, like, is there because if you see a trend of being late and being behind on deadlines, or a lot of stress within your organization, then maybe the problem is higher up the food chain. And as I said, like, the last thing would be that it is just a skill matter. So I would say in that scenario, then there's not much you can do. Like, if they're struggling, I mean, you can train them, of course, but you have to think about your own organization in this scenario, because the developer, like, I can't imagine a developer feels all that good about him or herself being late all the time, or feeling that pressure, and probably having people coming in every every now and then and asking, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? That's not a great sensation. So what I want you to take away from this is that when it comes to figuring out whether or not you should fire a developer for being late or being unproductive, it comes down to you first and foremost figuring out if it is a systematic error. If the developer in question is actually it might be actually very good. It's just that the way that you plan and the way that you think about software development as the stakeholder, whoever you are, it might be that you have a warped understanding of how software development actually works. So start by looking into that, because if you fire somebody without good grounds, you actually risk losing other developers, because developers talk and they don't put up, just warning you there. Second thing is to consider whether or not the person in question is trying to go for high-end, like, really nice solutions, and maybe you can actually cut back and get them to understand the mindset of your business. And lastly, and the absolute last thing you should do, is just figure out if this is a skill issue. If it is a person who is too junior to do this job, then either put them with a more senior developer, or, I'm sorry to say, you have to let them go. Have a great day.